You've been controlled today. Not by a boss, not by a government, not even by a person you remember, but by a pattern, a suggestion, a well-placed silence. Someone, somewhere, shaped your choices, without asking, without forcing. And the most terrifying part? You thanked them for it. Welcome to dark psychology, where manipulation wears a smile and control is mistaken for love, leadership, even truth. This is the battlefield of minds, and if you don't understand it, you're already losing. Dark psychology is the study of how people use influence, persuasion, and manipulation, not to empower, but to dominate. It's not taught in schools, but it's used in boardrooms, bedrooms, politics, even friendship. These are techniques rooted in human weakness, fear, desire, the need to belong. The dark psychologist doesn't fight you, they guide you into surrender. They know how to trigger your instincts, how to make you doubt your memory, how to reframe pain as pleasure and silence as power. These are not just tactics, they are systems. And the best ones, you never see them coming. Gaslighting is one of the oldest and most effective tools of psychological control. It's not just lying, it's reprogramming someone's version of reality until they no longer trust their own thoughts. I never said that. You're too sensitive. Are you sure that really happened? These aren't just phrases, they're weapons. Over time, the victim becomes dependent, not just emotionally, but mentally. They start asking permission to feel. They stop trusting their memory. They become controllable. In relationships, gaslighting disguises itself as care. In the workplace, it wears the face of a confident superior. In politics, it becomes revisionist history. The goal is simple: break the mirror and hand them a new one with your reflection in it. One of the most dangerous psychological principles is simple. We obey those we believe have power, not because they're right, but because they look and sound like authority. In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram ran an experiment. Ordinary people were told to deliver electric shocks to strangers. Not one of the victims was actually harmed. It was a setup. But the real test was obedience. And the results? Over 65% of participants gave potentially lethal shocks, just because a man in a lab coat told them to. The tone was calm. The suit was clean. The setting felt official. That was enough. Dark psychology doesn't need violence. It needs perceived power. A uniform, a clipboard, a confident voice that says, "This is how it's done." And when the crowd sees one person follow, the rest usually follow too. Control often begins with fear, not loud panic, but subtle unease, a raised eyebrow, a delayed reply, a sudden withdrawal of affection. These are signals engineered to create anxiety, confusion, obedience. Once fear weakens the target, isolation begins. Friends become a bad influence. Family becomes toxic. The manipulator becomes the only source of safety. And then comes the love bombing, overwhelming affection, compliments, gifts, constant validation. The target is emotionally starved, so they cling to the affection like oxygen. The manipulator becomes both the poison and the antidote. And that is when control becomes complete. Not all control is loud. Some of it whispers, some of it pauses. The greatest manipulators understand that timing is everything. They'll delay their response just enough to make you wonder what you said wrong. They'll use your name more often to create a sense of warmth or dominance. They'll insert emotional landmines in casual phrases you always overthink. No one else would understand you like I do. You're not like the others. Every word is measured. Every silence is loaded. This is psychological craftsmanship, where language isn't just communication. It's architecture. It builds illusions. It builds cages. Let's step out of theory and into real life. 1. Relationships. She whispers just the right words. You're the only one who truly gets me. Weeks later, you find yourself cut off from old friends, all for our future. You're not being loved. You're being owned. 2. Politics. He repeats a simple phrase. They're against you. Rally after rally, the crowd chants. They're against you. Soon, you see enemies everywhere, even in your own neighbor. Division grows, loyalty intensifies, and you follow because he told you to. 3. The workplace. The boss praises you in public, then emails you a vague criticism in private. You fix what you never knew was broken. You chase perfection while they tighten the leash. In each case, the tactics change, but the mechanics stay the same. Isolate, instill doubt, offer relief on their terms, and by the end, you are theirs. You don't have to be a victim of dark psychology. 1. Awareness is your shield. Pause. Observe. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? If the reaction doesn't come from you, it's their script. 2. Question. Authority titles and uniforms only have power if you grant them. Challenge statements. Seek evidence. 3. Reclaim your narrative. Keep a journal. Note patterns. When you spot manipulation, label it, and speak your truth aloud. These steps won't break the chain in a day, but each awareness, each challenge, chisel away at their control. Dark psychology isn't a myth. It's an everyday reality. And the most dangerous part? It feels like free will, but you can see the threads. You can cut them. Because in the control room, knowledge is power, and power is freedom. This is the control room.